Good evening, viewers. This Sunday evening, I'm Abhishek Kapoor. As Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi have been summoned by the Enforcement Directorate in a money laundering case linked to the National Herald newspaper, the Congress leaders have started blaming everybody, right from the ED to CBI to Income Tax Department to the central government, but their own leaders. As the grand old party plans to take to streets over the ED summits tomorrow, we ask, are the Gandhis above law? Why such brouhaha if any independent central agency wants to investigate into alleged embezzlements? We debate on that after this report.
और ऐसे बुलावे से या झूठे प्रकरणों से क्या डरेगा? डरने वाले नहीं हैं।
Jibes, questions, allegations, and now protests. Congress leaders are leaving no stone unturned to defend the Gandhis over National Herald scam. ED summons issued, but neither Sonia Gandhi nor Rahul adhered to them.
नेहरू गांधी परिवार के किसी सदस्य ने आज तक न तो एसोसिएट जनरल पद से लिया, न यंग इंडिया से लिया, एक पैसा नहीं। उसके बावजूद भी इन्हें बदनाम किया जा रहा है।
And now, when finally Rahul has agreed to visit the ED office tomorrow, the Congress leaders are coming out in his support in back-to-back pressers.
कल सत्याग्रह करने का एक प्रण लिया है और कल सुबह एआईसीसी जो कांग्रेस का मुख्यालय है नई दिल्ली में, वहां से ईडी दफ्तर तक हम लोग जाएंगे, सत्य के साथ खड़े रहेंगे, सत्याग्रह करेंगे। जांच से कोई डरता नहीं है, जांच कराइए।
But why question the law and malign the independent agency to exonerate their so-called honest leaders? Why can't the Congress let the law take its course instead of questioning the law itself? Let's debate.
Well, to discuss this, joining us guests from the BJP, Tom Vadakkan, senior leader and spokesperson, live from Delhi. Xavier Rodrigues, chief editor of Goa Chronicle, live from Goa. Representing the Congress party, Lokesh Chindal, leader of the Congress party, joining us from Nagpur, and Amrit Shenoy, leader of the Congress and former AICC member, joining us from Udupi. Mr. Shenoy, what's this fuss about? Is this the first time a leader has been summoned in a corruption case? Is it an occasion for pageantry if you are asked to come and submit yourself for interrogation by a central agency?
It is politically motivated, and BJP government is using all institutions to defame their political opponents. That's what I wanted to say.
All right. Lokesh Jindal, it's been 7 years since the investigation is on, and the Congress party's one-line cryptic answer always is that it is politically motivated. If it is politically motivated, it would fall flat. First, the agency will not get anything after questioning, and then if the matter goes to court, it would fall flat there. What's the problem? Why create such a scene and such a brouhaha around it?
First of all, the claim that Young India, it misappropriated the assets of AJL is factually incorrect. Secondly, why are you giving a clean chit to the government? Central Electronics Limited, which was a profit-making entity with a net worth above 1,000 crore, it was sold to Nandal Finance, which was close to the BJP for 210 crores. Nobody wants to talk about that. This is the greatest scam that if you go into greater detail, you see it was a clear-cut scam and BJP has no answers for it. The point is, BJP is indulging upon defaming Congress because it wants to come out clean from this particular scam. No, the point is the National Herald issue is being politicized by BJP so as to protect and so as to cover the scam of CEL, which BJP committed in March 2022. And despite all the employees protesting against it, it has gone ahead with it. And May and June, July again, it will be given effect to. So it is just a vendetta, some form of a gimmick that BJP is indulging into so as to give effect to their scams. And secondly, defaming our leader is another tactic of BJP because they are left with no other substance with themselves. As a political party, they have failed with respect to governance, with respect to administration, and all they know is to defame Congress.
Tom
But the
Vadakkan
Congress will stand strong.
Tom Vadakkan, You are defaming
Aishwarya.
senior Congress leaders, the Gandhis, out of spite because you have your own troubles. That's the charge of the Congress party.
Aishwarya, this is very interesting. He's comparing apples and oranges. He has no case and no brief to defend himself on this issue. So he's dragging another issue to try and landscape it and saying, well, crime was committed there, so this is also a crime. Come on. Give a justification. What is happening? For 50 lakhs,
Sir, please ask me
young
something.
India. No, I don't want
Yes,
to ask
please
you
complete.
something. I'm here on
Hold
a
on. Let
question.
Tom respond. Let Tom respond.
50 lakhs, you get a company completely, and 1,900 shares are allotted to Rahul Gandhi, 1,350 shares to Sonia Gandhi of Young India. And for 50 lakhs, the purchase is done. And the entire ownership of this Young India is held by the family. And the assets transferred, the question that may come up again is, where is the liquidity involved? It's not liquidity. It's about the assets worth 2,000 crores, my dear friend Jindal. Study the case properly before you take. Don't come like a lawyer who doesn't understand his brief. The question before this country is, for 50 lakhs, do you get 2,000 crore assets?
Now allow me
A
to
simple
reply. Allow
question.
me to reply to this gentleman. Now please tell me, sir,
Yeah.
Central Electronics Limited was already having an order of 1,510 crore in October
No,
2021.
listen.
Secondly,
No,
Central
look at this.
Electronics
Look at
Limited
this.
has
Look
a
at this.
land
Lokesh,
of 40
listen.
Look at
acres
this,
in the
man.
South Delhi.
Lokesh,
I mean,
No,
Lokesh,
allow.
we
Please
are not
answer this.
discussing,
Now,
I
we
don't
are
know
not
if that's
discussing the
wrong
merits of the
about
case.
how
Had there been no
finances-
merits
Now,
in the
please
case,
hear,
the
have the
Supreme
courage to
Court
hear.
would have quashed it. And
No,
let's
listen
off
to
the
me.
Gandhis.
Don't
Remember,
tell me about Supreme
listen,
Court,
listen.
sir.
You are
Please.
digressing and
We have
diverting. I
seen
will not
how-
allow you to do that. You are digressing and diverting. Now the question is, no. Listen,
I
listen.
am not
Lokesh, listen.
diverting from
The
it.
question
Why
is, we
is
are
it
not
that you
getting
are
into
so
the
much
merits of the
reluctant
case.
to us to discuss Central Electronics Limited? Listen,
Lokesh, I began by saying, listen, we are not going into the merits of the case, whether the Gandhis were involved in any embezzlement or not. We are not discussing that. That the agency would come to a conclusion to, based on which the courts would decide. We are not deciding it here. What we are discussing is, when was the last time a leader going to submit himself for questioning was accompanied with this kind of band baja barat? I don't know about band baja, but definitely barat. That's what the Congress leaders are suggesting. That's what you have to answer.
please get it right that Enforcement Directorate is being used by the present government so as to achieve its political ends. Now, CBI, ED, SFIO are three instruments with which the central government is terrorizing, is trying to do away with all opponents, and is trying to hide away with its impotency.
Still,
And Congress shall not allow this form
why do
of-
you need a pageant to accompany? Why do you need a pageantry? Why Rahul Gandhi needs 20 leaders, 100 leaders, 500 leaders, 1,000 leaders to accompany him?
We cannot watch this form of arajakta and anarchy and unethical form of politics taking place in the country. Gandhi staged a satyagraha against the British because their politics were unethical, and Congress will again stage a satyagraha against this unethical government.
We are dealing with a fake Gandhi. Please don't bring Mahatma Gandhi's name into this.
You have to get in here. Savio, you have to get in here. Mahatma Gandhi's name is being invoked for Congress Party's satyagraha in connection with what is being called a corruption case. We are not sitting on the merits. I am again underscoring that.
Yeah. Abhishek, in all fairness, a discussion on this is highly entertaining rather than enriching in knowledge. Because firstly, to my friends from the Congress, if there was political vendetta, and let's assume for a moment what you're saying is right, okay? If there was political vendetta and there's no merit in the case will fall flat on its face. And it will make Congress and the Congress leaders, in this case Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi, to look like heroes. So if there's no merit in the case, why are you worried about it? That's point number one. Point number 2 is, let's even assume again what you're saying, that CBI, ED and all the investigative authorities are working together to defame Rahul Gandhi. Now, please, seriously, BJP or the investigative agencies do not need to do that. Rahul Gandhi does a damn good job of it, of defaming his own self, not only in India but also internationally. So where are we heading to? In fact, I would tell the Congress, in all fairness,
and some of the stooges of BJP like you.
How can it be a propaganda? How can it be a propaganda? My friend, if the case falls flat, if the case falls flat, you'll win.
Tell me one thing. If a person is falsely
if the case falls flat
for about 20 to 30 years till the time the case is under trial, the person loses his reputation. Please understand, sir. Please,
no, but the Gandhis, according to you, are above law, no?
No. The point is,
I am an academic. I will talk like one, my friend. The point I am trying to tell you is that you will win. If it was a propaganda,
let me help you organize your argument, sir. Lokesh, I am saying again and again, we are nobody to judge whether corruption happened or not, whether embezzlement happened or not, whether money was transferred to Hawala channels. These are all charges in the complaint. These are being investigated. Remember two very important things. The origins of the complaint are with the shareholders. Now, you can't call Shanti Bhushan and Justice Markandeya Kajju as BJP leaning individuals. The origin of the complaint is based on the information that they provided. Number one. Number two, when the quashing petition of the Gandhis went to the Supreme Court, ably represented by very senior Congress leaders like P. Chidambaram and Kapil Sibal, the Supreme Court said, no, let this be investigated. It's basically a probe happening after instructions of the Supreme Court. Why? Also tell us, P. Chidambaram was questioned some time back. He went to jail also. His son Karti Chidambaram was questioned. Was there a pageantry with them? When Karti Chidambaram went to court, did Congress leaders go with him?
Because the point
is, it's a special treatment that is being given to the Gandhis.
No. Please understand.
It's a special treatment being given to the dynasty.
Please hear it out. National Herald issue is being manufactured by BJP so as to malign the image of our leaders, and which no sincere congressman will accept it. Get this clean and clear.
But Lokesh, that's what I'm coming to.
Are you going to protest?
BJP does not need to do that. Rahul does a fairly good job of
at every stage of the investigation?
Rahul does a fairly good job of defaming himself.
An undertaking for which has been given in the court for the bail. Remember, it's a condition in the bail order.
Propaganda being manufactured by the BJP. We shall always oppose this.
Arey Baba, it's a bail condition that you cooperate with the investigation. Some would say, Tom can come in on this. Some would say, Tom can come in on this. Someone would say that these are intimidatory tactics. You are trying to intimidate the agency, Tom.
Well, this is part of an investigation. I too faced the CBI twice. I went alone and I had tea and coffee with the investigating officer. He gave me some cookies and good coffee because I was clean as you can imagine. I don't need a band baja to go around and prove myself
when did you go to the CBI?
Innocent.
Which year did you go
I
to
went
the CBI,
twice.
sir?
Lokesh, what a pleasant experience. What a pleasant experience you had. What's your problem? I mean, if you are being treated well, if you're just being questioned, if you are clean, if there is nothing to hide.
You can check up.
Which year?
I'm not going to give you details.
No, sir.
You don't
Which
worry.
year did you go to CBI?
This was connected with
which year?
I'm not going to give you the year. You can check up. I went there in the case connected with Ajit Jogi, the chief minister then.
Which year?
No, I'm not interested in the year. You go and find out. I'm not here for IQ questioning. I went telling you the case. I went there, investigating officer. याद की बात नहीं है. अगर आपको समझ नहीं है तो पता लगाइए, होमवर्क करिए.
अरे सर, होमवर्क आप करके आइए ना सर. साल तो बताइए, आप कौन से साल में सीबीआई से मिलने गए थे कॉफी पीने?
मैं उस समय में गया
ऐसा
था
क्या
जब
था
Lokesh, you are digressing. Lokesh, let me take this question to Amrit Shenoy. Lokesh, you are continuously digressing from the main issue. Let me take this question to Amrit Shenoy. Amrit Shenoy, you said there is political vendetta, that the Gandhis are being targeted. Let me ask you a question. Enforcement Directorate, the agency, in the last few years has brought back about 20,000 crore rupees from economic offenders and fugitives of law who have run away from the country and got that money deposited in the treasury. 20,000 crore rupees over the last couple of years of the about 50,000 rupees taken away from public of India by scamsters. It's an agency which is doing its job honorably. It's an agency which does its work meticulously. Why are you trying to malign the professionalism of an agency by this kind of political one-upmanship?
Yeah, I hail from Karnataka. Even the KPCC president, recently they have issued a notice. So IT and ED and all these investigative agencies, why they do not find a single corrupt in BJP? Do you mean to say that all BJP people are non-corrupt people? Why they are targeting only Congress leaders? That is the question. Let me tell you, Narendra Modi came to the power by continuously alleging the Gandhi family and Robert Vadra. It is 8 years now. What he has done against them, what proof he has shown, what kind of allegation he was putting.
Okay, if the government does, you
So
say
all
why
these
it is
things-
doing it. If the government is being cautious and meticulous, you say nothing has happened. Savio.
No, why BJP people are not targeting?
Savio.
Hello? Yeah.
Okay, Savio, are you getting me?
So essentially, I think my friend...
I was asking.
Yeah, I'm getting you. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So primarily what my dear friend he keeps talking about CBI and he keeps talking about CBI only targeting certain political leaders. You need to go into in the last 10 years, okay, the ED and the CBI cases and the number of cases that have been registered against MPs, former MPs and MLAs and former MLAs. And that's a sizable number. Unfortunately, certain sections of the media tend to focus on cases that are high profile, like in this case being the ED case with Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi. But nobody will look at an MLA that is probably in Chhattisgarh, that ED or CBI has filed a case against. So I think they need to do a little bit of study, this gentleman from Karnataka who's talking about BJP, because CBI, ED and any investigative authority will not, in all fairness, let's respect them for the work that they do. They are honest people. They do go about doing their job. And the point is, one second, sir, let me finish. I'll give you your time. All I'm saying is let's not insult the agencies, because an institution can't go wrong. Officers within that institution can go wrong. And so when you brandish CBI, ED and all of them as being puppets of, say, the BJP in this case, when Congress was around, people would allege that the CBI and ED were puppets of the Congress. You are actually insulting the good officers in that institution.
Lokesh, answer that. Lokesh, answer that.
Like let's say in the Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi case,
not updated
why
at all.
are you saying?
In fact, are you done, sir? Can I answer? The Chief Justice of India recently in a conference had pointed out to CBI and all the central agencies to act independently without any fear from political authorities. Secondly, there was an intense debate and senior
That's
IPS
the job, they did that
IAS
before.
officers. Wait, please,
Sir, they've done that before.
Please do not interrupt.
They've done that
Senior
before.
IAS and IPS
They did that
officers,
before.
they had raised red flags and they have pointed out to the government that there has been undue interference of the political party, of the government into the functioning of these agencies. Thirdly, if you look at all the reports, it has clearly shown
Lokesh, I have to come in here. Lokesh, I have to come in here.
Do
Do you remember when was the last time CBI was called a caged parrot? Do you remember when was the last time CBI was called a caged parrot? That was under UPA. But more importantly, listen into this. There is a reason. There is a reason why the Gandhis have been issued summons for questioning at this stage. I am giving you a very important point about the timing of the summons. It is because in the recent past,
Yes, the Supreme
Congress
Court.
leaders Mallikarjun Kharge and Pawan Bansal have been questioned by the agency. Based on that questioning, the Enforcement Directorate has fresh information. It has to connect the dots, and that's why it needs to question the Gandhis. There is no election coming in terms of a state election or the general elections. It's not about elections or politicizing. It's a pure professional investigation in which fresh information has come in, and it needs to be connected with whatever information was available. That's why this questioning is happening. What has Rahul Gandhi's questioning in Delhi to do with protests in Trivandrum, protests in Chennai? I mean, are you trying to create a spectacle and try to intimidate the agency?
No, listen, I'll get your chronology right. It was in 2014, after the NDA government came to power in July, when this particular case was opened, when the first time the session court allowed that case to be heard. And subsequently, since 2014,
the complaint in the case for the first time happened in 2012. The complaint happened in 2012, just correcting you. Go ahead.
That's correct. The complaint happened in 2012.
When Subramaniam Swamy filed the complaint, at that point of time, he stated that there was violation of representation of people's
That
act
is when the
as well
case
as
came in.
violation under the taxation code, which was not accepted by the government. So the point is, the entire issue is all about money laundering, but there was no
Correct.
money laundering at all. So the case that was put up by Subramaniam Swamy in 2012 had nothing to do with the present case that is going on right now. And the present case that is going on right now is the outcome of 2014 when NDA government came to power. And secondly, when there was no money laundering done, how can the ED come up with a PMLA Act? It's almost like when there was no transaction done, it does not have any proof. Based upon some form of manufactured data, it is coming out with accusations.
So
Now,
let it
is
go
this the
to
form
court.
of a
No,
work that is done
Lokesh.
by the ED?
Let the ED complete their investigation.
No, what do you... Is,
Complete
no,
the
ED completing
investigation.
it-
No, you're not the court. Now you're not the judge. You cannot judge the entire case, neither you the investigative authority.
Maligning the
You're not the
image
investigative
of
authority,
honest
Lokesh.
Politicians. Please tell me, where is the ED when the CEL scam is taking
Rahul
place?
Gandhi
Where
is
is the
an
ED
honest
when Nirav
politician.
Modi, when Lalit Modi scam
Rahul
took
Gandhi
place?
is an
When
honest
Gujarat
politician.
shipyard building scam? Where is the APG
Lalit,
shipyard building
is
scam? All these forms
Rahul
of scam,
Gandhi
where is the ED there?
an honest politician?
I have
We
to...
don't
Sir, he's
need,
way
the
more
BJP
honest than
does not
any-
need
Lokesh,
to
any other
defame
Lokesh,
Rahul Gandhi.
another political aspect of this
Does he
entire
need to be
exercise we have to
defamed?
discuss.
He's
Lokesh, again,
pretty
you know,
good
you
at
have
doing it
you have
himself.
you have been very
Any other
consistent
politician
in
right
getting
now.
into the merits of the case. It does not, you know, it does not help the Gandhis. Please understand, it does not help the
It's not
Gandhis.
about
A
helping
more
or not
important
helping
point,
the
Tom,
Gandhis.
if you can
If
come
the
on
Congress
this.
party stands with the
You know, in the
Gandhis
just concluded
and people
Rajya
say
Sabha
a
polls,
satyagraha.
the Congress party has had a bit of a loss of face. It has lost
we
an
know
ally in
Rahul
Karnataka.
Gandhi is
The
honest
JDS
when he signed
has
the MOU in
permanently
China.
divorced itself from any
know
alliance
about
in
it.
future with the Congress party. Lokesh, please
in
listen. A
Rajasthan.
very important point I'm making. In Haryana, the Congress party could not make its very important leader Ajay Makan win. In Maharashtra, the Shiv Sena has doubts about the manner in which Congress party conducted itself, even the NCP, but that's different. What is important is, a day after Sonia Gandhi deputes Mallikarjun Kharge as emissary to coordinate between opposition parties for a presidential candidate in the upcoming president's elections, Mamata Banerjee shoots off a letter to 22 chief ministers and opposition parties asking them to come to Delhi so that they can confabulate together. Are there jitters in the Congress party about losing the principal opposition space? And that's why what we are going to see tomorrow is, hunger for camera, if I could call it, by the Congress leadership to remain in limelight so that as a build-up to presidential polls, the Congress remains relevant. Tom.
Absolutely.
Aishwarya, I should tell you this very candidly. Now, this gentleman asked me the date when I went to the CBI. I mean, I'm just interjecting. That the year was 2003. And this is the 4th of January. He can ask Congress President. I took her permission to go to the CBI. And I had tea and coffee there. And there was no problem at all. I had nothing, no baggage to hide. Now, this orchestrated trip to the ED's office is essentially to focus that they are innocent. The involvement of money laundering is laundering of assets. 2,000 crore, my friend. I mean, this is no mean. And he forgets to put it in the income tax return. Very forgetful of him indeed, because such a big sum should have been reflected in his income tax return. Now, all this orchestration, I've been in the party for quite long. How this orchestration, if it was a simultaneous overflow of love and affection to the Gandhis, you don't have to call from 10 Janpath and tell them, please be there at the AICC office for the march. Nothing of the sort. People will come together. But everybody in the heart of heart knows the guilty are afraid. This is the moral of the story, Mr. Lokesh.
Tom,
Tom, for 2011, 12, 12,
Tom,
13,
you would know
12,
better.
13,
You have
14.
been there.
3 years
love
of
for the
audited
Gandhis.
reports have
I think
been
that's
submitted.
love for the Gandhis. That's the bottom line so far as Congress party is concerned. We'll see tomorrow how Rahul Gandhi is treated by the Enforcement Directorate. And we'll, of course, also deploy all the cameras that we have so that we bring to you all details of Congress parties or their leaders' sycophancy for their son. I think that would be interesting to watch out in pictures. That's tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. Rahul Gandhi goes before the Enforcement Directorate to be questioned in connection with the National Herald case. Thank you so much, guests, for joining us.